Let's start with what went down. After weeks of tension, side-eye energy, cryptic social posts, and not-so-subtle digs at her own teammates and the organization, the Chicago Sky finally said enough and suspended her. Half a game. That's all it took. Half a game. And Angel Reese completely lost it. But let's be real here. The punishment wasn't just about one quote or one bad attitude day. This wasn't a knee-jerk reaction. This was the boiling point of a season-long pressure cooker that's been whistling behind the scenes for months.
If you're here for the real story and not the filtered version, subscribe. And if you're sticking around for the next Meltdown, you better definitely subscribe.
And Angel? She struck the match that lit the fuse. She went public with critiques of her teammates, plural. She questioned their leadership, threw shade at the front office, and essentially positioned herself as the only one who cared about winning. As if she alone was carrying the team on her back. As if Rachel Bannum and Ariel Atkins were just NPCs in the Angel Reese show. And when people started calling her out, when fans and analysts and even other players started raising eyebrows, she doubled down, made herself the victim, claimed she was being misunderstood and just speaking the truth. Girl, no, you don't get to throw your teammates under the bus and ask them to drive it for you. That's not how team sports work. That's not leadership. That's ego. And in the pros, ego without results is a one-way ticket to the waiver wire. Let's not forget, this is professional basketball. You're not in college anymore, where charisma and highlight reels can cover up messy locker room behavior. This is a league full of grown women who fought their way through years of grind and sacrifice to get here. You can't show up, pout when things don't go your way, then burn everything down and expect applause. Especially not when the results aren't even that impressive. Let's talk numbers. Angel Reese, while undeniably talented and full of potential, hasn't exactly been dominating the court. Her stat lines are respectable, fine, but she's not out here carrying the franchise on her back. She's not making game-winning plays night after night. And she's certainly not the reason the Sky are relevant. In fact, what did bring attention to the Chicago Sky this season? Not Angel's social media following. Not her post-game quotes. It was the drama she created by refusing to be a teammate. And you know who didn't respond with fire or tweets or passive-aggressive clapbacks? The rest of the Sky. Because they're professionals. They handled it behind closed doors. They showed up to practices. They gritted through tough losses. And when Angel Reese made it clear she didn't want to be part of that grind unless she was the center of it, the team finally drew the line. Suspended. And even that was generous. Half a game? That's a warning shot. A cool, off period. A soft reset. It wasn't even a full public benching. It was the lightest possible disciplinary action they could have taken while still saying, hey, this isn't okay. But Angel? She saw that half game and went ballistic. Sources say the meltdown was instant. Denial. Deflection. Accusations. Her attitude didn't just get worse, it turned toxic. And instead of taking accountability, instead of reflecting or apologizing, she tripled down on the "they're just hating on me" narrative. She couldn't see that this wasn't about jealousy. It was about accountability, about respect, about the fundamental requirement that you play with your team, not against them. And while Angel Reese was spiraling, you know who was quietly showing everyone what real leadership looks like? Caitlin Clark, the rookie from Iowa who's been under more pressure than any player in recent memory. She's been hit, fouled, mocked, shoved, and scapegoated since the minute she stepped on a WNBA court. And yet, she hasn't complained. She hasn't lashed out. She's kept her head down and played the game. Even when teammates missed shots, even when calls didn't go her way, even when the entire media circus turned her every move into a debate, she stayed composed. And most importantly, she uplifted the people around her. That's what leadership looks like. Not blaming, not sulking, not subtweeting your teammates because you didn't get enough touches. Caitlin Clark could have said a lot of things in the face of constant criticism, but she didn't. She let her game speak. She passed the ball. She gave credit. She earned the respect of her locker room and the league. And that contrast between Clark and Reese, it's loud. It's undeniable. It's damning. Because while Reese is over here torching her relationships, burning team chemistry, and playing the victim on social media. Clark is earning her stripes the hard way, with class, grit, and accountability. And that's why fans are turning on Angel. Not because they hate strong women, not because they don't understand passion, but because they do understand leadership, and they see the difference. Reese has made it clear she wants to be the star, but in doing so, she's made herself a story for all the wrong reasons. She's become a distraction, a liability, and worst of all, she's made it impossible for her team to trust her. Because once you publicly throw your teammates under the bus, how do you walk back into that locker room? How do you look Rachel Bannum in the eye and say, "Let's go in this thing"? You don't. You sit alone. You stew. You wonder why no one's answering your texts. And if you're Angel Reese right now, you're wondering where it all went wrong. Spoiler alert, it went wrong the moment you made it about you. Basketball is a team sport. It doesn't matter how many nil deals you had in college or how many followers you gained from that viral block. If you can't build trust, if you can't put the team first, you won't last. The WNBA is filled with insanely talented women, many of whom never get the spotlight Reese was handed. And yet they grind, they lead, they contribute, quietly, respectfully. Angel Reese could have been one of them. She could have been a star and a leader. She could have used her voice to unite her team, not fracture it. But now, she's being labeled what no young player ever wants to be. Uncoachable. That word sticks. And it doesn't just affect this season. It follows you. To every team, every locker room, every coach who wonders, is this going to be worth the drama? So now, Angel Reese is facing a very real question. Not can I still ball? Because obviously she can. The question is, can I be part of something bigger than myself? Because if the answer is no, then her days in Chicago are already done. And the next team? They'll think twice before taking the risk. So what do you think? Has Angel Reese burned her final bridge in Chicago? Is there still a path to redemption? Or did she slam the door shut the minute she went scorched earth on her own teammates? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you're here for the drama, the breakdowns, and the real talk behind the headlines, smash that subscribe. Because when the meltdown is this loud, you know we're going to be talking about it. Angel Reese didn't just go ballistic, she declared war. Not just on a Chicago sky, but on the concept of team-first basketball altogether. This wasn't a momentary outburst. This was a campaign. A me versus everyone energy that's now spiraling so far out of control. The only question left is, does Angel even want to be part of the team? Let's not pretend this is just about a disagreement. This is about character. And what she's shown time and time again is that when adversity knocks, she doesn't rally. She retaliates. There was a moment, just a moment, where she could have changed the narrative. Right after the suspension, before the backlash reached full volume, she could have gone high road. Something like, emotions run high. I care about this team. I said some things I regret. I'm ready to move forward. Boom. Clean. Professional. Redemptive. But instead, she hopped online and played the same tired card. They always try to silence strong black women. And listen, we're not ignoring real systemic bias in sports. But what Angel did, that wasn't calling out injustice. That was deflecting. That was spinning. That was weaponizing identity politics to avoid accountability. Because let's be absolutely clear, this wasn't about her being strong. It was about her being selfish. She called out teammates publicly. She questioned the organization's direction in the middle of the season. She made it clear that unless she was front and center, she wasn't interested in collaboration. That's not strength. That's sabotage. And when fans pushed back, when analysts started raising red flags, she didn't listen. She didn't self-reflect. She doubled down. She posted cryptic Instagram captions, liked tweets slamming her own team, turned her social media into a courtroom where she was always the victim and everyone else was on trial. All while the Chicago Sky were just trying to play basketball. Do you know how hard it is to compete in this league on a good day? And now imagine doing it with a teammate who treats the locker room like her own personal drama stage, who publicly implies she's the only one who cares, who sucks all the oxygen out of the room and still asks for more. Now imagine you're Ariel Atkins, or Rachel Bannum, or anyone who's actually been grinding in this league for years with no TikTok hype, no brand deals, no headlines, just sweat and silence. And now Angel Reese is throwing a tantrum while the rest of you are trying to keep the ship afloat. At some point, you just stop trying. You let her spiral. You let her talk. You let the franchise handle it. And that's exactly what Chicago did. They didn't just suspend her. They made a statement. A public disciplinary action in the WNBA is rare. A suspension? Practically unheard of unless someone goes full malice at the palace. But the Sky sent a message loud and clear. This isn't about talent. It's about culture. And let's be honest, Reese wasn't the culture. She was the chaos. The sad part? She has the tools to be great. Physicality, confidence, court presence. On paper, she's everything you want in a power forward. But greatness isn't just what you do with the ball. It's what you do without it. It's how you lead, how you listen, how you build trust. And in that department, Reese is bankrupt. Let's take a quick detour. Caitlin Clark. Yeah, we're bringing her up again because the contrast isn't just sharp, it's painful. Clark has taken elbows, slander, and disrespect from her own league, all with a calmness that borders on supernatural. She's been the face of controversy through no fault of her own. And still, she shows up. She plays team first ball. She uplifts her teammates, even the ones who don't like her. That's composure. That's grace under fire. Meanwhile, Reese is dragging her own franchise like she's live tweeting a breakup. And let's not act like people aren't noticing. Media outlets are shifting. Commentators who once fawned over Angel are backing off. Her own fans are starting to say things like, I still love her, but you know how that sentence ends. It always ends the same way. But she needs to grow up. And that's the truth. Because this isn't about cancel culture. This is about accountability culture. And in the WNBA, where chemistry is everything and every player matters more because the rosters are smaller, your attitude can end your career faster than your stats can save it. Right now, Reese is skating dangerously close to that edge. And the scariest part? She doesn't even seem to care. She's operating like she's untouchable. Like the brand is stronger than the backlash. Like no matter what she says or does, someone will always give her another chance because she's marketable. But the thing about branding, it only works when people like you. It only works when you're winning. It only works when you're not the root cause of dysfunction in every locker room you walk into. So let's talk about what's next, because this doesn't end here. The Chicago Sky, they're moving on. Internally, they've already made peace with the fact that Angel is probably done. The locker room is too fractured, the trust too broken. Her teammates? They're not rallying to her side. There's no free Angel movement coming from within. Just silence. And that silence? It's louder than anything she screamed on Twitter. So where does she go? Another team might take a gamble. Someone always does. A desperate front office. A coach who thinks they can fix her. A team looking for headlines, hoping the baggage doesn't outweigh the upside. But that leash will be short. And the minute she pulls this again, that team's going to do what Chicago didn't have the guts to do sooner. Cut ties. No drama. No discussion. Just good luck out there. Because this league is evolving. Faster than ever. The spotlight is brighter. The fan base more engaged. The expectations higher. And there's no room for ego without accountability. Angel Reese came into the league with an opportunity to be a generational voice. She had the charisma, the presence, the platform. She could have led, not just on the court, but off it. She could have spoken for the underdogs, the scrappers, the overlooked. Instead, she made herself the story, and not the kind anyone wants to write home about. Because here's the hard truth that nobody in her inner circle seems willing to tell her. You're not untouchable. Not in this league. Not when your behavior starts pulling more headlines than your game. Not when every post-game presser is about damage control instead of basketball. Not when your teammates are out there giving their blood, sweat, and ACLs to keep the season alive, while you're busy throwing public shade and ducking accountability like it's a defensive assignment you just don't feel like guarding. Let's be blunt. Angel Reese could have owned this league. She had the charisma, the platform, the post-college momentum most rookies dream about. Every camera followed her. Every mic wanted her quote. Every brand wanted her name. And now, crickets. Because the moment she got suspended, not even a full game, Mind you, just half. She didn't pause. She didn't reflect. She imploded. And the energy since then? It hasn't been giving future face of the league. It's been giving burnout before year 2. And what's really wild is how preventable all of this was. There's a version of this story where Angel Reese goes into that locker room, owns what she said, tells her teammates, "Hey, I was frustrated. I love this team. I want us to win. I messed up." That version of Angel, she walks away from this suspension with a clean slate. She gets her minutes back. The fans forgive. The media reframes it as a mature growth moment. Hell, she probably ends up on the cover of Slam with a comeback quote in bold letters. But that's not the version we got. We got the one who couldn't see past her own reflection in the mirror. And look, I'm not saying she's a lost cause. Let's not get that dramatic. Angel Reese is still incredibly talented. She has years ahead of her if she wants them. But she has to want them enough to do the hard stuff. The soul-searching, the listening, the letting go of the main character complex. Because this isn't college anymore. You're not the queen bee of Baton Rouge. You're not being carried by a storyline where everything magically works out because the crowd loves your vibe. This is the WNBA, and every woman in this league earned their seat. No one is handing you anything. Not minutes. Not respect. Not patience. And right now, you're burning through all three. Let's talk about what it actually means to be a professional. Because clearly, somewhere between nil deals and TikTok fame, that memo didn't quite get through. Being a professional doesn't mean looking good for the cameras. It doesn't mean giving sassy quotes that get clipped and go viral. It means showing up. It means showing up even when you're pissed off. Even when your team is losing. Even when you're not getting your shots. Even when no one's clapping for you. You think Caitlin Clark isn't frustrated sometimes? Please. She's been fouled harder than a piñata at a kid's party. She gets booed, shoved, targeted, and still, she shows up. She runs the plays. She dishes assists. She doesn't storm out of press conferences. She doesn't blast her teammates when the game gets ugly. She leads. And I get it. Maybe Angel Reese doesn't want to be Caitlin Clark. Maybe she thinks they're too different to even compare. But here's the thing. It's not about being Caitlin. It's about understanding what Caitlin represents. A player who's willing to grind, no matter how bright the spotlight gets. Right now, Reese seems to think she deserves the spotlight, that it's hers by default. But the spotlight? It moves. And it's already started to. Brands are backing off. Teammates are distancing themselves. And the worst part? The fans are divided. Not in a fun, passionate Team Angel versus Team Haters way, but in a this has started to make me uncomfortable kind of way. The tide is turning. Slowly. Subtly. But it's turning. And if she doesn't change course soon, the only thing left in the spotlight will be the wreckage. Because here's how this plays out if nothing changes. She finishes the season benched, maybe even cut. Other teams take a hard look and say, yeah, talented, but not worth the locker room tension. She ends up bouncing from team to team, each one hoping this time she'll mature, this time she'll grow up, until no one takes the risk anymore, until she becomes that player people whisper about. Remember when Angel Reese was everywhere? Man, what happened? But again, it doesn't have to be that way. She can still turn this around. Not with another PR statement post on Instagram. Not with another tweet saying, y'all love to hate me. But with real action. Start with the locker room. Apologize, not in public, but in private. The kind of apology that doesn't need to be performative. Just face-to-face, eye-to-eye. No cameras. No spin. Then come back. Not like a martyr. Not like a villain. Just a player. Do the work. Practice harder. Play smarter. Pass the ball. Show the fans, the league, your teammates, that you care more about the team than the drama. Because if she doesn't, someone else will step in and do it for her. That's the WNBA. The next rookie is always waiting. The next humble superstar. The next player who understands that being the moment is a privilege, not a personality trait. Angel Reese was the moment. Now, she's becoming the warning. A lesson every young player is going to get told. Don't be like Angel. Be better. So, let's wrap this with a real question. Do you think Angel Reese can bounce back? Or is she too far gone? Too locked in her own ego to see the opportunity slipping away? Should another team take a shot on her? Would you want her on your roster? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let fly. And if you're living for the drama, the downfall, and maybe the comeback, hit that subscribe, because this story, oh, it's not over. Not even close.